One thing about language, which I guess I don't know why it keeps coming through so strongly in a minute, about words and claiming things and pronouns, which I'm not even going to get into that debate, is that, for example, with PTSD, I'd prefer to say I experience it. I don't have it, because I don't want to claim anything that's mine. I want it to pass through my system, in and out. You know, it's funny, people sort of connect trauma to having to work, well, not trauma, but, you know, ADHD or neurodivergence sort of brains, which is only going to become more and more talked about, but everybody's got a different brain. Like, I find the victim mentality around all of that, like, oh, I've got ADHD, therefore I have to work twice as hard to do this. I mean, it's the victim mentality. Everybody's brain works in different ways, and I don't believe that anyone has to work harder at doing anything unless we are mentally or physically impaired. And I don't think having ADHD or a different brain, different skill set neurologically impairs us. I think it's a gift. And so the more we start to taint all this stuff, saying we've got to work twice as hard to do. One, I just find that self-indulgent behaviour. And two, it's a gift. It's not about having to work harder. We all look at things very differently with our own perception skills. And so obviously there's a scale of this, and autism and being on the spectrum and things like that, and some bodies in the world will not be able to live by themselves or manage themselves in this reality. And I say this with all respect, I'm not here to question any of that. I'm just saying that we need to be mindful about the words that we use when we move through things, because of this victim mentality that exists. And I know I'm a survivor, and things that arrive in our lives that are full of pain and perhaps at the time scary things, when I consider myself quite a fearless person, because I believe that if you do act with fear, you just end up manifesting things that confirm that fear exists to you when it doesn't exist to me. So nothing can scare me because it doesn't exist in my reality, because I believe in an existence that I am not here to die. I've been put on the earthly realm, fuck knows why, to evolve and learn about the human experience, and go back and decode or debrief whatever souls are part of this mission alongside me, because I'm not the only one that's chosen this. I'm not the only one who is conscious of the mission. And whether people think that I've become a Christian or whatever, it's like, I'm not here to bash any type of whatever. I don't do groupthink, but just look at different belief systems and different schools of thought, and take what works for me, or not take, because it's not mine. I just observe and see how things land in my psyche and my brain. And for me, I've never been diagnosed with anything, and I think a lot of the cases these days, and I'm not a medical practitioner, and I probably have to 411, I probably have to say that now just to, cover my back, is that a lot of the diagnoses that I believe are given, they're incorrect, and they're connected to diet and the gut, and they're connected to spiritual health, and they're connected to a physical existence, an existence that doesn't acknowledge the other realms and spiritual gifts and seers and abilities in clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, etc., etc. And so, however we might be perceived, where we get downloads, some of us channelers or whatever speak fast, and some might equate it to ADHD because that is a term or a lived experience for some people. But all these words, it's just, everybody's neurodivergent. We've all got a brain that functions very differently, again according to how we've been raised, what country we've lived in, if we've experienced war, and in our ancestral lineage we all have. And so when we do the ancestral work, we realise that we are all the same. I don't believe in the we are one thing, and Ishan Izin has also been speaking about that recently, so that's quite an interesting thing, because I don't consider myself to be part of the we are one story, but that's okay. I'm allowed to believe whatever I want, and everybody else is. So if people do believe that they have X, Y, Z, and that's fine, but we won't align, because we start to take on these terms and these diagnoses as almost an accolade or badges of hindrance and victim. Oh, I've got to have extra time for this and extra time for that, and I'm at a disadvantage when I think there are advantages. I think we can act and see ways that other people won't, but then other people will see different things or hear different things, and interact in the spiritual space differently. So language and words is coming up, and it's all a distraction. All the pronoun thing, like, I'm not even going to get talking about all of that. If we believe we are worthy, if we believe that we have something to say, what do we need to prove it to anybody else for? Why do I need to be called any certain thing? Like, whatever, do what you want. Live how you want, as long as it's not hurting anybody, and it's for your highest good of the collective. Who cares? Like, it's all a distraction, 717. Like, the aim in life is to self-sustain, be self-sufficient, is to live in harmony with nature. Nature don't give a shit about pronouns. Just saying.